So, bouncing out to like something unrelated, I feel like there is this same story in the headlines right now with Facebook, where everybody is super pissed at Facebook. And to be honest, like I don't really even care what they did. Like if anybody thinks that their information that they put on Facebook was supposed to be private, it's just kind of silly to me. I think you should always assume that the internet is like a public park. Anybody can be listening to you at any time. If you want to have some privacy, you got to learn to whisper, which means encryption on the internet.
Right.
But everybody's super pissed at Facebook, and the price of it is going down. But I haven't seen that many people like stopping using Facebook. I think once it gets out of the news, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I don't know. Do you guys think it's going to stick?
There's just no alternatives right now, are there? I mean, I've heard this MeWe thing, but like, I don't know.
I mean, Facebook owns most of the alternatives.
Do they really?
Yeah, Instagram
They're a few
Facebook,
steps ahead.
And what's the chat one that they own too? I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think that's going to just, people will just go back to using it because the next story will be on in the news and they'll be like, oh yeah, whatever. We'll just still use it. Like,
but there is no alternative at this point, I think, is part of the issue. And actually, I'm actually glad you brought this up, because this is an area where
people don't stop shopping at Target, right?
Right.
Like, it doesn't.
What's wrong with Target, man? You got a problem with Target?
Well, they just got hacked and lost everybody's information,
see?
right? Like,
you're proving the point. I've already forgotten, right?
So that's what I mean. It's going to take them another 3 months, maybe at the most.
Yeah.
3 weeks, maybe. Right, and then it's on to the next thing, and it won't matter.
Yeah, and this is an area, as I was saying, this is an area where crypto can actually really be disruptive. There is, at this point, there essentially is the potential technology to create applications that are more decentralized and that, in my opinion, can do a better job of just being social media platforms. So Facebook, I mean, there's so many different issues. Facebook just had their recent issues. Twitter they've had an issue where a lot of people have been getting blocked or suspended or banned. So they were once marketed as kind of like a free speech application, and now it looks like that's kind of not coming to an end, but we're finding out where the limits of that is. And then with YouTube, you have people, if they say anything that's bad at all, they're getting demonetized, so they can lose their income just because the audience gets mad and reports it. So we're at a point where I think this is, I don't know if I'd quite call it a turning point, but society badly needs social media that is more decentralized, that is more pro-free speech. And with some applications, especially with stuff like EOS or with Steam or even with Ethereum, you think they maybe have the technology to be able to do it, but unfortunately it takes months, if not years, to build. So I'm curious, do you guys think that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology has the ability to disrupt social media as we know it? And if so, when do you think you would actually see some real significant disruption?
I think that, I definitely think that it's coming. I think it's Johnston's law. What can be decentralized will be, right? And I think what you're going to see is it's going to take another wave. When I earlier said that people are just going to go back to using it, what I didn't really talk about was what happens the next time this comes up, because it will come up again, and more people, because this is just the first pass of people hearing about, like, oh wait, what? My information isn't private to me. And it'll happen again with another feverish group of media, like people just shoving this in your throat, and there's going to be no way for people to ignore it again. Just like when Bitcoin hit almost 20K and it was on every news channel every night for like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, like people started to wake up. So I think it'll be a culmination of two things. One, maturity of the technology and people actually building the platforms, and two, another price wave of cryptocurrency, and culminating in a newsworthy event that brings up privacy issues again. I think the two of those things over the next 3 years will probably be a driving factor that will push people and the younger generation, right? Because it's always the younger generation that adopts the technology, and then the older people backfill into it, right? Like Facebook didn't start out with grandmas and grandpas,
right?
And now everyone's like, oh, well, I can talk to my grandkids through Facebook, or I can talk to my friends and or whatever. Like everybody's on it, so I'll be on it too.
Yeah, I feel like the way that Americans work, at least, it's like we don't care about an issue until it affects like some celebrity that we like, and then all of a sudden there's some sort of like revolution that happens, right? It's like you like Twitter, and then Donald Trump gets on, and then all of a sudden you hate Twitter. You know, it's like the Americans gravitate to personalities. It seems, especially celebrities, right? That's just the nature of Americans. But I'm curious, Jackson, what do you think it would take for people to really push away from the traditional social media?
Real quick, I think that is the exact story, actually. I don't think really anybody really cares about their privacy and data in this world. I think that they care that Facebook gets used to get Donald Trump elected, and I think that's the backlash that we're seeing. But I could be wrong, but I've seen no reaction to Target or Home Depot getting hacked and having your personal data leaked.
Equifax
getting hacked. Nobody cared. But if it was related to Trump, then people would get pretty pissed.
Oh, yeah, they'll get up in arms real quick.
But to answer the rest of your question for decentralizing social media, I think that if you can see people paying for social media, then maybe, but I don't think you can. I think that people will always choose free option, which needs to be monetized somehow. You got to pay for developers, you got to pay for servers.
And that means data being sold, right?
Yep. So I don't really think so, but I'd love to see a world where people are willing to pay for news and pay for content and social media. But
Do you think there'll be a hybrid like period,
like in between?
Yeah, where there's like half pay, half like. You can click the boxes of what you want to give away, and like you're all of a sudden
like turns off the
your
ads
subscription goes from like $7.99 a month down to like $2.99 a month because you give up a bunch of certain information.
I feel like people are just gonna go with the free one because they don't care about their privacy.
At least it would be more opt-in, so I kind of do like that model.
Right.
But I do think everybody would choose free.
I think it would depend on the price. So I guess I could see it. The one thing I will say is that I think there is a lot of potential here, and since I've been writing web applications for almost 6 years now or something like that. There's a part of me that really wants to jump into this space because I feel like it's just completely ripe for the taking. People are so sick of social media. You're right, though. It is kind of like the user experience would be difficult. How would you get someone, oh, hey, I know you want to use this platform, but hey, you have to buy this token, this currency first, and you have to load it, and then it fluctuates, the price fluctuates, because that's kind of what it's like with Steam. Is the idea is it's a good idea, but the user experience just is not. It's not there. It's hopefully getting there, and hopefully some of the newer projects will be able to help streamline that process. But that's kind of a recurring theme in cryptocurrency and blockchain tech, right? Is the user experience. Hey, for us nerds, it's like, oh yeah, it's super easy, but for grandma and grandpa, it's not super easy. And if you're talking about a social network, you need as many people as you can, which means you need to make it easy for the lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah, I agree. And we're still seeing attempts at it, right? Like Steam is one.
Oh yeah,
Endorse.
I think we'll see more and more
like
attempts.
Like the LinkedIn, decentralized like LinkedIn type of companies, right?
Right.
So I think they're definitely going to there's going to be a lot of attempts at them, right? And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before there's an iteration where there's going to be, who knows, maybe there'll be like a schism where there'll be privacy people and there'll be public people, you know,
right.
And like there'll be two different kind of data sets, and be like, I can't find you on the internet anywhere. You're like, oh well, I've gone private, right? And you're just like, people will be like, well, what does that mean? And you'll be like, oh well, I switched over to like using these other services, or I pay $4.99 a month for Facebook because I don't want them to track me or keep any of my information, right? And all my images are mine or something. And people will be like, whoa, what? That's really weird. But you know, I think people will start to get it, and maybe that's the way that you have like a grassroots movement about teaching people about privacy.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't already working full time, I think it'd be so much fun to get into that space. Because I think that is just the way that social media is going. And social media, there's so much money in it too that you can't help but look at it, licking your chops. It takes obviously a long time to write an app, especially have one as good as Reddit or in fact, we'll talk about Reddit in a second, or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. But hopefully the developers out there are at least considering jumping in. I'll be honest, I haven't seen quite enough organization, coordination with some of these projects, some of these currencies. I'd like to see a little bit more, but that's kind of why one of the reasons I created the San Diego Blockchain Developer Meetup is to try to help nourish that, help people organize and coordinate, because that is one thing that is missing. Are you enjoying the Captain Crypto Show? We've only been around for about 6 months and creating videos for only about 2 months. But in that short time period, we've been able to take our ragtag crew and start building a fleet to bring you the freshest and most critical information from the new world of cryptocurrency. But we can't do it without your help. If you like our content, consider liking this video, sharing it with some of your closest mateys, and even consider hitting the subscribe button. Although we do include our cryptocurrency addresses in the descriptions for these videos, the truth is, me and my crew prefer not to beg for our coin. After all, plundering is more the pirate's way. So hit that subscribe button and come join us on this adventure.